It is Sunday morning. It is 12:20 a.m. Happy Sunday. And more importantly, you know what? Happy Mother's Day to your mom, DY, to my mommy, the mother of my children, who is working right now. And she's probably going to be watching this because she does watch when she's working, which I don't know what that means. I don't think that's pretty good, but who am I to question? Who am I to question the mother of my children?
Yeah.
Just the husband, just the father. I was there. That's about, I guess, all I can say. But I am Stephen Muehlhausen, combat sports reporter for DAZN. The man to the right really doesn't need an introduction. I don't really know why we give him one. He's so fucking great. The one and only DY, Daryl Rivera.
You flatter me.
I try. But no, I want to thank everyone. Before we even kick the shindig, I want to thank everyone who, man, you guys are turning out, showing out, listening to all these killer podcasts. Damian Priest, Stoking about Sammy Guevara, Paul Heyman. Yes, the great Paul Heyman actually spoke to me. It was fucking 26 minutes of glory. And no, I did not cream my pants, everybody. As I told Daryl, it was pretty close. There were a couple moments to where
very descriptive text that I got.
it was pretty close. It was pretty close, ladies and gentlemen. But I was okay. I made it. I survived. But what a night it has been. I don't know how I have this much energy. I've been working for the last 8 hours and 22 minutes. But it's been a great night. As you see at the bottom, this is the Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders recap show. Unless you were living under a rock, which some of you might do, or you are involved with Premier Boxing Champions, Canelo Alvarez defeats Billy Joe Saunders by 8th round TKO to retain the WBA, the WBC, and Ring Magazine super middleweight titles, and adds the WBO strap to his collection in front of a record-breaking crowd of 73,126 people inside of AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, which breaks, ladies and gentlemen, the all-time indoor attendance record for the most viewed boxing match in the United States. Breaking the record of 63,350 set in 1978 in the rematch between Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks inside the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. I could be done now. But fight ended when Billy Joe Saunders' corner did not let him come out for the 9th round. What apparently is, from what it was hinted on the broadcast and from I've talked to some people at DAZN, it's like a broken orbital for Billy Joe Saunders. He is right now in an Arlington, Texas hospital. The best goes out to Billy Joe Saunders. I thought he fought fantastic until that right freaking uppercut from hell. Canelo Alvarez put everything DUI into that uppercut. He wasn't playing around. What did you make of the performance by Canelo Alvarez?
It was fantastic. I mean, it's typical Canelo fight. He fills you out for the first couple of rounds, and then towards the second half of the fight, he's just gonna punch your lights out, and that's what happened. And crediting Billy Joe Saunders here, he had a good fight. Like, there was arguments made that the rounds were like 4-3, 3-4. And he had a good fight, so that's why I was shocked. I texted you right away as soon as Jonathan Gresham was, he won, he's done. They called the fight. Todd Gresham, thank you. They called the fight. I texted you immediately, like, holy shit, what happened? He was doing well. I thought, he was at, like, He's doing better than previous Canelo fighter, like Canelo opponents. And you end up seeing his eyeball. They zoom in on it. I'm like, man, the replay in slow motion, you just see that uppercut coming up immediately. Boom. Lands it. Good night.
Yeah, that was. You gotta think about that. That was just a thing of beauty. When you get the way he just sat down on that uppercut. And it was something Billy Joe Saunders was doing all night. But Canelo just kept barely missing. He wasn't missing by much, but still missing. But when I was talking to a colleague, and he said it to me, and he's like, if he hits him with that uppercut, it's done. It will be he will go down, or it's going to be the beginning of the end. And it ended up being the beginning of the end. And I said to him when we were done, I'm like, hey, you called that one, man. I'm like, because you said it was going to be the beginning of the end. It ended up being the beginning of the end. And you just gotta, I marvel at him, and it's like you always want to be. I try not to get amazed by what I see, like, because me and you have both seen a lot, and it's one of those things though where, you see great, and then there's a couple definitions of boxers. You have bad, average, mediocre, pretty good. Then you just have out of this world. He's out of this freaking world. Let's just call it like we see it. Out of this universe. 56 1-2. 38 wins by knockout. He's on a 15-fight unbeaten streak. He's 14-0-1. Who is that only one loss to in 59 fights? To the great Floyd Mayweather. And think about this, and a lot of people still don't talk about this, and Floyd Mayweather tried to debunk this the other day. Oh, Canelo was in his prime. Of course he's going to say now that he can beat me if we're both in our primes. Canelo Alvarez was nowhere near his prime in September of 2013. Sorry, Floyd. I know all the Mayweather fans out there will be like, oh, well, yeah, he was. Look at how many fights he had at that time. Just shut up. He wasn't. Let's just be fair and stop the bullshit. Because I will say it now. And this isn't being a prisoner of the moment. I've said this to you before. Those two fight in their prime, Canelo blows him out. That fight can be at 147 where Canelo started. It could be at 150. It can be at 54. It could be at whatever weight Floyd Mayweather wants that fight. That fight would end by knockout, and it would end very badly for one Floyd Mayweather. There's a reason Floyd Mayweather took that fight when he did. Because he knew this kid was going to get better with time. Yep. And he sure fucking did.
It's an old story of Mayweather's always picking and choosing his opponents. You can always make the argument that Canelo was in his prime, quote unquote, but he was not. He was young. He was inexperienced, and sure, he had a lot of fights under his belt. But you look at the opponents that he fought before Mayweather. There's not a lot of name talent there. It was after Mayweather you started seeing Canelo take on the biggest names in boxing. Miguel Cotto came right after that. You saw, Amir Khan, Liam Smith. these type of fighters coming after the Mayweather fight. And that's when he started making his name, making the Gennady Golovkin fight. That's when he started becoming prime Canelo. This is peak right now, and he might even be getting better. That's a scary thought, considering he's moving up in weight. He went up to light heavyweight, knocked out Kovalev, came back down to super middleweight, and is just dominating the entire division. The belt collector, the wrestling term, belt collecting, the entire boxing 168 division. And I completely agree.
Are you calling him the Kenny Omega of?
He's the Kenny Omega boxing, man.
I am Stephen Muehlhausen from DAZN, the Man's and Right Combat Sports journalist, Daryl Rivera. We've got a lot of people jumping in. Leave questions and comments. I promise they will get answered. It may be 12:31 here in Chicago, maybe 1:30 out on the East Coast, 10:30 out in beautiful Las Vegas. But we will answer all the questions, all the comments. I promise. We will. Don't forget, if you're watching via Facebook Live, it's simple. Just give a reaction to the video, that thumbs up, the thumbs down, however you're thinking about it, and like and follow the Walkway to Fight Club on Facebook. If you're watching via YouTube, it's also very simple, guys. It's not hard. Thumbs up, subscribe, ding, you're done. You can call it a wrap. All right, we got some. Let's see. Luis Barboza. Luis, thank you for the questions, the comments, sir. Chavez and Alvarez have one thing in common. Which Chavez, Luis? I hope you're not talking about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who I think is going to lose to Anderson Silva. I'm calling it now.
I would not be shocked about that either. I would not be.
Let me know, Luis. Let me know who you're talking about, my friend.
I'm assuming he's talking about Julio Cesar.
I just want to make sure before we
just
get a little crazy. But we will answer this one. Reply to this one. Mexicans are the best boxers, hands down. Now, full disclosure, I am part Mexican. So
I am full Puerto Rican.
I tend to agree with Luis here. Because let's just be honest. Let's be on the honest tree for a second, DY. We know Canelo Alvarez. He already beat Miguel Cotto. So there we go right there. Tito Trinidad. If they fought at 160 or even 154, I would love to see that in their primes. A prime Tito Trinidad, a prime Canelo Alvarez. Ooh, that's some sexiness right there. I'm not going to lie.
I'm paying for whatever the price that is. Could be $90 and I pay for it.
But we know the winner.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie.
I'm paying for whatever the price
The winner is not Tito Trinidad.
Oh.
Sorry to disappoint you. I love Tito. I think Tito Trinidad is the bomb. But not on my watch. Sorry, man.
Hey, I love
you.
Listen.
I love you. I can't do that. And plus if we're just being under the honest tree. We don't get enough of that in boxing to begin with. It's all a bunch of everyone's aligned to a promoter and an advisor and a network and not willing to ever dole out love. But if we call a spade, we know an ass whooping is coming down on Tito Trinidad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it would be an ass whooping. I know he would lose.
What?
But I don't think it would be an ass whooping.
That's an ass whooping.
All I'm saying is the fan in me, the Puerto Rican in me, would be like, yeah, Tito, awesome. I'd be cheering for Tito. But the realistic, unbiased journalist that I am, Canelo's knocking Tito out. There's no debating it. Canelo's on a different level. He's a different animal than what anybody has come before him. Okay, let me ask you this. This is a good question. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., or not Jr., Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. versus Canelo in the prime, who wins?
Canelo. Wait, say that again.
Chavez versus Canelo in their prime, and I'm talking senior, not junior.
At 47?
Hmm?
I would have to say. Oh my God.
What do you think of your answer, guys? If you have any dream matches that you want to talk about, Mexico or Puerto Rico, whatever, put them in the comments. We'll answer them. We'll talk about them.
Both guys in their prime?
Yes.
Canelo. It's too much power.
Canelo hits like a freaking ton of bricks.
You know, and we'll get to the next question we'll go to the next question in a minute. You just look at, and Caleb Plant just tweeted, I don't know what the heck something with smoke coming out of his nose. I don't know if that means like he wants to smoke. We'll get to Caleb Plant. I don't think Caleb Plant wants to smoke. If he's watching that, if he's watching what we've seen, put it this way. I'll just start the comment now. Caleb Plant has no shot. None. He may think he wants to smoke. Billy Joe Saunders wanted to smoke. He wanted to smoke. And look at what happened. Got his orbital bone broken. And then, like it or not, and I know there is everyone saying he quit on his stool. That fight was close.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out there. And he tries to figure it out. You go out on your shield. Broken orbital bone or not. I send my guy out there. Because I don't know if my guy's ever going to get this kind of opportunity again. Now, don't get me wrong. I had to fight even going into the ninth. And what did you have it scored as?
I had it. I think it was 5-3. Canelo.
5-3 Canelo.
Yeah.
See, I have no problem with it either. It's all about how you judge that first round.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you were going back and forth about how you judge that first round. I gave it to Canelo. I mean, I gave it to Saunders based on this. We know what Canelo does in the first round. As long as you're throwing and you're somewhat connecting, you're going to get the round. Canelo gives that round away, except to Callum Smith and Ivani Yildirim. But more often than not, Canelo gives away that round as he's trying to process that information. And that's what he did here. I thought Saunders had a good first round, and he was just active and trying to establish his rhythm, and I thought he did fairly well. So 5-3, 4-4. I didn't agree with the judging. I think it was like 77-74. Or I don't remember the scores off the top of my head. I seen some of the judges I saw some reporters have the scorecards out. I didn't agree with them. I thought they were kind of lopsided. I've seen a lot of media that was there that had that fight even going into the ending of the fight.
No.
Let's see here. I think I have it right here. Give me 1 second. I think Dan Riffield had it. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys.
No, and while you look for that, like I had a 5-3, and that was like a close 5-3 because there were some rounds that you could literally flip a coin, and like the 5th and 6th round, I think they were pretty even rounds. And a lot of people gave it to Saunders because Saunders was more active and landed more power shots. I gave both to Saunders. The first round, I gave it to Canelo because I thought he connected more effective punches. Sure, Saunders gave you the volume and the quantity, but Canelo gave you the quality of punches. That's why I gave it to Canelo. Again, it was a toss-up, and it was like, whatever, let's go with it. I had Canelo win the first 4.
Okay.
And
you
then
telling me that, then Saunders, you thought Saunders was starting to pick it up.
Yeah, Saunders started to pick it up. I think I gave him 5-6, Canelo 7, Saunders, or no, Saunders got 7, and then Canelo got the 8.
All right, here are the scorecards. Glenn Feldman had it 78-74 for Canelo. Tim Cheatham had it 77-75 for Canelo, which is what you have. And Max DeLuca had it 78-74 for Canelo Alvarez. Man, it's hard to see how you have
78-74.
6 rounds for Canelo. I agree with you. You can go 5-3, 4-4. How did you guys have this fight scored at the end? Put it in the comments and put it in the comment section. How did you have Canelo Saunders scored at the end? Daryl had it 77-75 for Canelo. I had it even 76-76. Seen a lot of people have the fight even. I didn't see many. I saw either 76-76 or I saw 5-3 Canelo. I didn't see anyone have Saunders ahead. I've seen a lot of people have it either even or 5-3. And we'll get into that, some of this horrific BS in Texas with judging and refs, and we're gonna, especially the refereeing, we're gonna get into that in a little while. But you know, and I want to get to this because I think this is a great comment here. Luis, thank you, Luis. I appreciate it, dude. Throughout the fight, Saunders was rolling low. Canelo timed him beautifully. Exactly. He kept going low and he kept leaving. And I don't know how Max Gibbs didn't see him doing that. He did that more than once. It's like, what are you doing? That's not a mistake you can make with Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. You know that. I know that because, and like we were, I mean, that Caleb Plant tweet just still kind of bothers me. But Caleb Plant has faced nobody. And we'll get into Caleb Plant. I just can't stop thinking about it because I'm getting it sent to me now. But you can't make that type of mistake against Canelo Alvarez. You can't. And I'm shocked Billy Joe Saunders kept doing that. Because he's a very cerebral, he's a very slick boxer, and we've seen that in the fight. For anyone that wanted to discredit Billy Joe Saunders, pound sand. Because he may have been a plus 450, but I'd be damned. That was a very live plus 450 underdog, if I've ever seen one. I told people, either Canelo was, and this was amazing, this was as of Thursday, Canelo was a plus 100 to win by stoppage, a plus 140 to win a decision. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, you take the plus 450 on Saunders. You find some money in the pillow cushions, even if it's $10. You win a little bit. Okay, you win $45. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
No.
4.5 to 1. Okay, you pluck $10. You win 40. You get 50, or you get 55. You win 55. That ain't bad. Okay,
not bad at all.
That's not too bad. And then plus 100 on. And this is all according to BetMGM, by the way. Plus 100 for a knockout? Shit, here's $100. Hand me a hundo back. But no, so you even were shocked by the odds. I was shocked writing the article. And I unfortunately hand Canelo my bet to choose for my betting piece from DAZN was Canelo by points. Kicking myself on that now. I just didn't think he'd stop him. I didn't think that would happen, but like Luis said, and Luis brings up a great point. It was just he kept rolling low, and it was a matter of time before that uppercut came, and it sure did. Now, someone was talking about Mayweather earlier. I want to answer this before we move on. Canelo versus Mayweather rematch. Daryl, go ahead, please. Roberto, thank you for the question, my friend, and thank you for watching and leaving a question.
Like you were saying about Caleb Plant not wanting to smoke, yeah, Mayweather doesn't want to smoke right now. Mayweather doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. And he's a smart, for all the flack that Mayweather gets, he's a smart businessman. He knows a losing battle when he sees it. He also knows a good money fight when he sees it. Hence why he's fighting one of the Paul brothers right now. This is not happening ever. I don't see Mayweather ever coming out of retirement to, not even in an exhibition, to fight Canelo Alvarez in the shape that Canelo's in right now.
God, I know this would not happen, but I would really wish that Logan Paul would win. Is that bad?
Why is that? Why is that?
I am just not. Now, I respect Floyd Mayweather for what he's done. I think he's the best of this generation. I'll admit it. He is. He beat everybody. Did he cherry pick some people? You're fucking right he did. Should he get as much credit as he gets? No. No. There's a reason he waited 6 years to face Manny Pacquiao. There is a reason he chose to take on Canelo Alvarez when Canelo Alvarez was 23 years old. There's a reason he faced Shane Mosley when he did. There's a reason. There's a reason he chose that catchweight with Juan Manuel Marquez. Just think about it, everybody. There's a reason he picked to go out against Andre Berto. Or so we thought. And then he faced it. I don't even know how we can say Floyd Mayweather is 50-0 when he beat a UFC fighter who had never had a professional boxing match. How do you count that as a professional boxing match? I'm sorry. Could there be a rematch? Sure. It'd be a one-sided ass whooping. Absolutely. Oh, come on, Mayweather people. I'm in a mood tonight, people. I'm in a mood. This is Stephen Muehlhausen, podcaster. This isn't Stephen Muehlhausen representing DAZN. I'm in the mood. Justin Miller. I love John Morgan. John Morgan is a colleague of mine, and I like John. But why do you, if you have a picture, now you should have a picture, if you're going to have a picture of a real journalist who is not afraid to ask real questions, John Morgan would be the last guy to have a picture of. Should have a picture of me. I'm a handsome man. John's not that handsome. As much as I love John, I've drank with John, and I've ate with John. John can out-drink my butt under the table, and John can out-eat me every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Floyd's the greatest, you fool. Man, I must be. Now, I'm not trying to say Floyd Mayweather is not great. He is great. I'm not ever going to deny that.
Like you mentioned before, greatest of their generation.
He is the best of this generation. There is no doubt about that. But when I'm going to butt you, he was and I give him credit, he's a smart businessman.
Yep.
No doubt about it. But if he meets Canelo Alvarez in his prime, if they're both in their prime, Floyd Mayweather is going nowhere near Canelo Alvarez. I will tell you that right now. This dude is a herb straight up. What? What? Whatever you're smoking, man, I wish I kind of had it right now.
I like his question.
Oh, no, there's more. Okay, I'll be humored by this one. All right, DY. We'll answer this one. And then we'll move on. Ngannou versus Wilder. Okay. DY, who wins and why?
I think Wilder wins. Just because this is basically going to be who can throw the hardest haymaker. And I still think Wilder has one of the deadliest right hands in the boxing game. And I'm assuming this is boxing. Because MMA Ngannou.
I think Wilder wins. Oh, God, yeah, Wilder wins. Oh, yeah.
So.
As much as
I like Ngannou.
As much as it's easy to rip on Deontay Wilder and his I don't know what you playing at Deontay's on lately. Hopefully, I want to see Deontay back in the ring.
Yep.
I want to see.
I want to see
He
him claw
belongs
somebody
in
with
it.
that right hand again.
He belongs in the ring. I miss Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Justin, you can use a better Facebook avatar, but good stuff, my man. I appreciate it. This is Stephen Muehlhausen from DAZN, combat sports journalist Daryl Rivera, recapping the Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders fight. If you're just jumping on, Canelo Alvarez stopped Billy Joe Saunders in the 8th round via 8th round TKO as Saunders did not come out for the 8th round. From what I'm being told, it is now a broken orbital for Billy Joe Saunders. That's it. Man, you knew it right away. Like you said, when that eye was like, you saw it, and I'm like, ooh. And then they went up close, and it was like, Now, what were your thoughts when they stopped it?
What the fuck? What happened? That was my immediate thought, because I'm like, this guy, it's an even fight. He's not far off. They built him as like, hey, this is one of the hardest guys to stop. He walked to his corner. He never went down. He was like constantly blocking. He was active towards the end of the round. And then he got to his corner, and then they stopped it. I was shocked that they stopped it. Shocked. Because, again, they build, as he was walking down to the ring, they built it. He's a guy that you're going to have to kill to get out of the ring. They stopped it at the stool.
It was weird because I'm like, and I'm even talking to a couple colleagues, and we're in our work chat, and we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like looking down. I was talking to someone in the pay-per-view industry just to see how it was tracking, and I'm told it was tracking well. I wasn't given a number, but even though it was airing on DAZN, it was still tracking well. And I was just looking down, sending a text back, and then I'm like, wait, what? Canelo's like standing up, he's ready to roar, and I'm like, oh man, no. Yeah, because Billy Joe Saunders isn't that guy. But we don't know if he's that guy to quit. We don't. He's never been in a situation like this. He's never, and we'll get more into this in a little bit, but there's levels to this. There is. Big fight experience means a lot. Look at Mayweather. You look at Pacquiao. I'll throw Tyson Fury into that hat. The Cottos, the De La Hoyas. There's levels to this. You can't go and face substandard competition. Although Anthony Joshua in there as well. Anthony Joshua's faced the best. You can't face second-tier opposition. And when it's time for you to take that step up against B plus, A minus, A plus fighters, you're really going to know about the fighter. If I'm Billy Joe Saunders' corner, I would have let him go on. Maybe I'm being harsh. Well, people say, oh, well, you can only see out of one eye. That eye was getting close. I'm not going to say it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I'm letting him go out on a shield. Because I don't know, Daryl, if Billy Joe Saunders is ever going to get this opportunity again. And if I'm seeing it right now, I don't think he is.
And I agree with you. But let me just play devil's advocate here for a little bit. You can't see out of one eye. Canelo just figured out how to tag you. You look across your corner as you're sitting down and they're working on your eye. And you just see, my opinion, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. Just standing up, pacing back and forth in the corner. Again, you can only see one eye. I don't think it was the worst idea. And this playing devil's advocate, do you think it was the worst idea to sit down and just say, you know what? He's going to knock me the fuck out. So I might sit back down. And I agree with you. I would have, if I'm in that situation, in that level of fighting that Billy Joe Saunders was in, I probably would have gone up because I know, hey, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down. But I'm also saying I get it. Because again, that guy just broke your orbital bone with one punch. What else can he do for the rest of the round? And the referee had no signs of stopping that fight.
No.
None whatsoever.
Not at all. No, not a one. And it's easy for us to say, and I'll say this, it's easy for us to sit here and, I hate saying armchair quarterback, but armchair quarterback.
There's no other saying, man.
And I get, he was hurt. We can only imagine how much that hurt.
Yeah.
But you also got to think about in the magnitude of everything. You got a chance to fight for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. There's never been in the 3-belt or 4-belt era. There's never been a undisputed 168-pound champion. You got all that on the line. 73,126 people screaming, and whether they were cheering or booing, the fans were into the fight from the jump. It was a spectacle. The awesome entrance of Billy Joe. The awesome entrance of Canelo. Michael Buffer saying, let's get ready to rumble. I got goosebumps thinking about it. I'm going to watch the fight again probably because I'm not really tired. And I have a busy day in the morning.
Yeah, my ass is going to sleep as soon as we're done here.
Always know how to. Look at my Debbie Downer. Come on. I know you're tired. It's been a long day for the both of us. But just think with the magnitude of the situation. Even though, yes, you got a broken orbital. Put it all on the line. I just think his corner didn't want him to get stopped. There is that badge of honor that's admirable of saying, I didn't get stopped. I had to retire. I could see that narrative being spun. You're in the fight. At least on one scorecard. But it was turning around. You were making it a fight. Say he even loses, but he loses 7-5, 8-4. Maybe he gets a draw on a card. Now you can build yourself up for a rematch. Recover from the orbital and get back in there if you can somehow survive. All these scenarios can play out. Maybe you hurt Canelo. But he didn't give himself a chance to do that. I know everyone's been disagreeing with me on this, and that's perfectly fine. I respect everybody. I respect everyone's opinions. In and out of the fight game. I think he'll let him go out on this shield.
Again,
it's hard.
I don't completely disagree with you, but I'm just saying, to play devil's advocate, looking at it from the other side, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
You know what? This is interesting. If he didn't quit on the stool, he would have been permanently injured. That's another way you can look at it, in all honesty. That couldn't. But he can get injured could have got injured in the first round. Just by a punch. Could have got injured. We've seen guys get hurt throwing a punch. these guys get hurt in some of the weirdest ways we can see. Look at what happened to Chris Weidman in the UFC. You know, and I know that's hard, but just guys can get hurt in different ways, and girls can get hurt in different ways. There's no guarantee you're done permanently injured, but I got to think, is he ever going to get another shot? Not at Canelo. He's never going to fight again in front of 73,000 people. I hate saying that, because I respect the hell out of Billy Joe Saunders. I think he's a very good fighter. He's an A fighter. He is. He hasn't faced A-level competition. Even when those guys were, when you look at either Andy Lee or David Lemieux, those guys, David Lemieux was a B fighter by that point. He was a one-trick pony. Andy Lee, I thought that was a tough fight. That was a fun fight, and he dominated Andy Lee. I thought Andy Lee was a B plus fighter at that time. But I think Andy Lee now is a great trainer. Really, really do. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. It seems like I am. Now, this is true. Yep. Not being able to see out of your eye against the pound-for-pound champ of the world would be a quick way to find yourself in one of those knockout games. Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Especially when you're in the corner with one eye and you're looking across the ring and he's just pacing back and forth. Because Canelo was ready to go.
No doubt about it.
He literally saw blood in the water and he turned into the great white shark. It was over.
It was all over but the singing. Now, with Billy Joe Saunders out of the way, it seems like the fight to make is Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. Canelo had a short, simple, and quick message for Caleb Plant. I'm coming, my friend. Caleb Plant put out a little emoji. What it seemed like saying he wants to smoke. That is the logical fight to make. No doubt about it. That is the fight to make for Canelo Alvarez. That is that, and that should be the fight to make for Caleb Plant.
It would easily be his biggest payday.
It would be his biggest payday by a country mile. Caleb Plant's made some good money, but not this level of money. Absolutely. But Caleb Plant's made some good money. He just hasn't faced anybody at this level. But this is but a couple things before we get into this more. There's a couple things that have bothered me about how Caleb Plant's handled all this. We'll give Caleb Plant credit for this. And I bashed that horrible booking against Caleb Truex. I really still don't agree with it. But I could see where his head was at, being like, hey, just in case the IBF tries to get funky, because IBF's pretty freaking wonky. They're a weird sanctioning body. And I could get his impression of they may try something stupid and make me take a mandatory when I'm trying to make this fight. I'll take the mandatory, do the mandatory now. Okay, I get it. But there can be no more of this optional mandatory nonsense facing someone that's at least 2 tiers below you. It's time to stop. It's time to stop with the kid games. If he wants to fight, take the fight. You're gonna make pretty good payday. You're gonna make $10 to $15 million. But my question is, and you got to think of the timeline here. Canelo Alvarez is fighting September 18th. Why? It's Mexican Independence Day. He will fight that day. He has made that abundantly clear. He doesn't need Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant needs him. Yeah, Canelo wants to be the undisputed champion. But if Caleb Plant's going to try to get crazy and PBC's going to try to play hardball in negotiations, you're not going to play hardball in negotiations with the biggest star in the sport. That's not going to work. Not when fighter B is not the name and not even at the fighting ability of Canelo Alvarez. That's just plain and simple, and you have to like it. I think the deadline, and just the middle of June is going to be the deadline. Canelo's not going to miss out for the third year in a row and not fighting on Mexican Independence Day.
No.
He's got a competent promoter now in Eddie Hearn. He's not dealing with the idiocracy of Oscar De La Hoya. And that's a whole other conversation, and we'll get into later on next week with, I don't know what Oscar was doing again today, but it didn't seem like Oscar was doing anything good. And spewing more nonsense today. But this fight has to be made by the middle of June, or Canelo can bounce. Say, we'll wait. And maybe you'll lose and I'll fight somebody else. I think he's going to... This is where it's going to get tricky for PBC. Of course, they want to be in the Canelo Alvarez business. Who doesn't? It's a great business to be in, trust me. Been in the Canelo Alvarez business for almost 3 years. It's a good business to be in. But this is going to come down to money. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to dollars and cents. Is Fox Sports going to dole out the money to make this fight? This isn't like making Andy Ruiz and Chris Arreola. This isn't This isn't Errol Spence and Sean Porter. This isn't Errol Spence and who did Errol Spence face last? Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
This is bigger. This is going to cost you a lot more money. And Fox I have it on pretty good authority. Fox is just about done in the boxing business. They're not very happy with this partnership with PBC. If you haven't been able to tell. As there isn't a fight on the books anytime soon. I just don't. I think the only way it could be Showtime, and I said this here, it could be Showtime CBS. Canelo has a good relationship with Steven Espinoza. I sent Steven Espinoza a text this evening, and he gave me a thumbs up on Canelo's performance. What'd you think? What do you think about Caleb Plant? I didn't get a comment. So you kind of know where that's at.
I mean, it's like you said, it's a fight to make. There's no reason Caleb Plant should say no to this fight. It just comes back to, does Fox Sports want it? Does PBC want it? And that's a shame because Caleb Plant's biggest payday was his last fight against Truex.
Yeah.
It was $150,000. Billy Joe Saunders just got 2.5.
Oh, Billy Joe Saunders is getting a lot more than that.
Well, 2.5 guaranteed plus whatever he's getting for the pay-per-view.
From what
which is 40%.
Billy Joe is going to be making. I've been told Billy Joe is going to be making about $8 million, $8 to $9 million.
Not a bad deal.
Billy Joe's getting taken care of.
Yeah,
he's going to make some good money. Now, we're going to take a look. Jamal, please, Jamal Charlo, please. We'll get into you in a second as well. And I'm just looking at Caleb Plant's schedule here. His biggest win, it was a great win against Jose Uzcategui to win the IBF super middleweight title. Now, look at his title defenses. Mike Lee. And that name may sound very familiar to you guys. Not because he resides in Chicago, because he's more known for being the guy in the Subway commercials. I like Mike Lee. Mike Lee's a friend, but Mike Lee is better known as the Subway guy. Vincent Fegan Boots. And then Caleb Truax. He has fought, let's just be honest, second and third rate competition. Speed facing second, and then this goes back to what I said earlier. There's levels to this. Now, don't get me wrong. Caleb Plant's got some skills. Not gonna deny that. I actually really like his jab. I like his right hand. But it's easy to have a great jab. It's easy to have a great right hand when you're facing that kind of competition. Caleb Plant. 21-0, 12 wins by knockout. Good record, undefeated. He's the IBF super middleweight champion. I just don't like his chances.
Nope.
I really, really don't. And it's on a knock on Caleb Plant. I think the odds would be higher than they were for Billy Joe Saunders. There's nothing Caleb Plant brings to the table I will tell you this. The Billy Joe Saunders fight actually got Canelo Alvarez excited. Why? Because it was a style challenge, and he knew Billy Joe would help sell the fight. And this is where my problem with Caleb Plant starts. So far, Caleb Plant's done shit to make me care about wanting to face Canelo Alvarez for the super middleweight champ, to become the undisputed super middleweight champion.
He wasn't there today, was he?
That I'm gonna get there.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, you're good. He was at the event, the Andy Ruiz, Chris Arreola card last week, and Brian Kenny was leading him, and trying to get him to talk. He's bringing up Canelo, not even saying his name, just dancing around it. I'm like, what are you fucking doing? You have this audience. Use it. And then Chris Mannix of SI and DAZN reports in the middle of this week, or I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday, that Caleb Plant wasn't coming to Dallas. And I had that confirmed. I reached out to his camp, and they said he wasn't going. I asked why. I didn't get a response. I know Chris did too, because I talked to Chris. Chris said he didn't get an answer either. Errol Spence was there tonight. Demetrius Andrade was there tonight. You know who also wasn't there, who does live in Texas? And another one that talks a lot. Jermell Charlo. When Caleb Plant's tweeted, Instagram. Let's see. Okay. Caleb Plant. You can't break a poor boy's chin. That's Warriors code. Then in all caps, there are things I fear, but I put it on my last breath and soul that men aren't one of them. Jermall Charlo. Fuck the money, fuck the fame, fuck the networks. I'll lose my title and go to 168. Make the fight happen now. Boxing needs to see this. Jermall Charlo's another one. Who in the hell is Jermall Charlo faced at 160?
I couldn't tell you.
You know what? I'll do it because you want to know why I love you guys. Stephen Muehlhausen here from DAZN. To the right, DY, Daryl Rivera. You guys are smashing it tonight. Man, we got people bouncing in and out all over the place. A lot of people watching. It's simple. If you're watching via Facebook Live, simple. Leave a reaction to the video. Thumbs up, thumbs down, love. Give any type of reaction to the video. Like and follow Walkway to Fight Club on Facebook. If you're watching via YouTube, it's simple. Give it the old thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm
Justin
right.
Miller's killing it today.
Okay. I like when people talk.
No, I love it, man.
We'll have fun. Okay. Jamal Charlo. He was at 154. I love who he fought at 154. Austin Trout. I thought that was a great win. J-Rock. Great fight. That was a great fight. Big knockout. Okay. I'll give him that. And even K9 Bundridge. I'll give him K9. But since he's gotten a 160, struggled against Korbarov. Brandon Adams, huh? An overblown 160 Dennis Hogan who should be fighting at 154. Derevianchenko, who's seen his best days after the war of a lifetime with Gennady Golovkin. And let's see who Jamal Charlo is facing coming up. Juan Messias Montiel. June 19th at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Live and exclusively on Showtime. I'm sorry. Come on. If you're going from 54 to 60, and maybe, okay, you want to take the Korbarov fight? Awesome. Korbarov's that's a guy, and he struggled with Korbarov, and Korbarov was a late replacement. I think Jamal should take a lesson from Jermell and fight and want the best and want all the smoke. Face the top competition. Face Demetrius Andrade. Face Gennady Golovkin. Face Chris Eubank. Face anybody that's not Juan Macias Montiel. I'm sorry.
And it's still going
to be great. I'm sorry, but it boggles my mind with guys like, and I respect all boxers. Anyone that's willing to put their life on the line, I respect. But as I keep saying, there are levels to this shit. There's levels. You don't get to face the king of the throne. Sorry, you haven't faced anybody. Face someone at 168. If you're going to go do that, face a David Benavidez. Face a Caleb Plant. Face Demetrius Andrade at 168. Face Gennady Golovkin. Face somebody. Face somebody that's good. Face someone not good. Face someone that's great. And that's my problem with these guys. They want the lottery ticket. But goddamn, you got to earn that fucking lottery ticket. I'm done because I'm just gonna get very upset.
Are you sure he's not going to earn that lottery ticket by fighting Montiel? I mean, they're going to charge $75 for that fight.
Oh, it's on Showtime.
Oh, 60. My
After
bad.
that horrible pay-per-view number, the horrible pay-per-view numbers they did. Yeah,
That's what happens when you.
I want to. Showtime lost and I'll tell you right now. Showtime lost a fuck ton of money on that fight. They did.
I wonder why.
Told they did. From people at Showtime told me they did. The Ruiz Arreola fight, 125 is being reported. 125,000 with streaming and pay-per-view.
Oof.
I have not been able to confirm that. I've seen the TV about 40,000. I'm being told 125. All I was told was 125,000 was generous. I'm being told about 100. That could creep up to 115, maybe, but they're not confident in that. I'm being told around 100.
That's rough.
125, and that was Mike Hoppinger from The Athletic, who I respect tremendously. And he DM'd me, he's like, what'd you hear? And I'm like, 125. I did not hear. I heard 100, but I did not hear 125.
That's rough.
I'm sorry.
No. You took it exactly where I wanted to go. I mean, they're not as good as the Charlo brothers are. It's like you said, they haven't done much. You want to face a king?
I'll give Jamal Charlo a ton of credit. Jamal Charlo fights everybody. That kid just doesn't care. I love that. I love him. Guys like that are great for boxing. Jamal Charlo, Errol Spence, the Canelo Alvarezes, the Joshuas, the Furies,
Golovkins,
the Golovkin. Back in the day, Golovkin. Right now, I don't know what in the blue moon is up with Gennady Golovkin. Andrade wants the top guys. I love guys that just want to fight the best guys. I think Crawford wants those big. Crawford, Pacquiao. That's why people love the Manny Pacquiao. There's a reason people love Manny Pacquiao, but they despise Floyd Mayweather. They don't despise Floyd Mayweather because he's made all that money. That's being a smart businessman. I think people just don't respect the fact that he took the path of least resistance, which I can't knock it. That's smart business. But if he ever won, he ever wonders why he's never going to be as loved as Manny Pacquiao. And that has made him almost $1 billion, and I can't knock that. He chose his route. Manny chose his route. But if we're talking just respect from the fans want to see guys take action fights. Reporters, I know for a fact that media members like the same thing. I don't know much media that's going to Miami for June the 6th. You asked me. I got asked and said no. I said no yesterday. Not a chance. I actually thought about it when you asked. I'm like, that's not a horrible idea. And then I'm like, no. I have to cover it, unfortunately. But it won't. I'll put it this way. And I told this to DAZN. I'm like, it will cost you less money to keep. You're better off keeping me home. Because it's going to be a joke. I like the undercard. I like Jean Pascal and Badu Chek. That's going to be fun. Fuck yeah. Jared Hurd and Arias at 160. I love Jared Hurd. That's a fun fight. No. I want nothing to do with seeing Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul.
No.
All right, let's get we got a ton of. All right, let's get here. We'll start here. You guys are smashing it. God, I love you guys. Justin Miller. Justin, please change that avatar. I love John Morgan, but jeez. Is Canelo the last huge megastar of boxing before MMA takes over? What do you think, T.Y.?
No. Because you still have Canelo right now is the biggest name in boxing, but you still have a good welterweight division. Who
could be a megastar in that division? Sorry to cut you off. But out of those welterweights, who's going to be the welterweight that's going to get to the level of Canelo Alvarez?
Errol Spence.
Why?
Just because I think his style of fighting is one that's entertaining. You give him the right opponents, you give him the right platform, I think he can shine. He just needs, in my opinion, and that accident back last year didn't help either. But the fact that he came back and he won decisively against Danny Garcia, that goes to show you how good he is, and he could be a superstar. And the welterweight division isn't the only one. You got the heavyweight division with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury making noise nowadays with that big fight. That's a fight that I'm willing to pay for. Not only that, you also got the lightweight division. Boxing has a lot of stuff going on. It's just you have it's in a day where the promoters are taking over more and they're basically just blocking the fighters out from being themselves. You see the Crawford Errol Spence situation. You see the Crawford situation in general. You see the Teofimo Lopez situation. What happened there? This is stuff that it constantly happens. The promoters are preventing fans from seeing this fight or this or whatnot.
Yeah.
Teofimo's another name that you mentioned before. He just wants to fight the best.
Teofimo.
I saw Lomachenko's name pop up on the comment. Reminded me. Teofimo fought him. He's a guy that will take on the best. And Teofimo Lopez might be another superstar coming up. Mega superstar. The guy's still young. He's fighting anybody that is calling his name. He's a stud. He's basically a case in point. Canelo's not the last megastar. Just mainly because there's a lot of divisions that are making noise. Ryan Garcia, once he comes back from, whatever's going on, he's going to be a megastar as well. Hope he comes back from whatever's going on with him.
I thought that was a cool thing at the end of the broadcast by DAZN. Wish Ryan well, because he's going through a lot right now, and hopefully Ryan gets the help that he needs, and hopefully we do see Ryan back sooner rather than later. Right now, I just checked Google Trends now. Obviously, the number one thing of the day, Canelo Alvarez. Right now, 1.5 million Google searches. That equates to huge streaming and huge numbers. So that is good news for DAZN, Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders, and Eddie Hearn. Now, to answer the question, man, I don't. You have Errol and Teofimo, Garcia. You got Tank Davis. I think Tank Davis has hit that hip hop audience. He's tapped into that audience that Floyd was able to capture. I'm intrigued to see what this Triller show does with Teofimo Lopez. I'm very intrigued to see how that does. I really am. Because I would like to see how well it does. I don't know how well it will do. I really don't. But if I'm thinking next big, huge megastar. So you look at right now, the biggest stars in boxing are Canelo Alvarez, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Manny Pacquiao, and then I'd have to say can either go Teofimo Lopez or Ryan Garcia. Just depends on how you really view it. But and Justin brings up a good point about MMA. More often than not, MMA does, and this is such the weird in terms of viewership numbers. The UFC outdoes boxing on TV, but when it comes to pay-per-views and streaming, the UFC kicks their butt. But there is nothing like a big boxing. You look at nights like tonight, Canelo Alvarez is the UFC moved off their original time, bumped it up 2 hours, just because they knew. And they told me, they were like, this is why we did it. We have no problem saying that's not the case. So when you get big nights like that, when Joshua and Fury do lock horns, look at Wilder Fury. Look at how big that was. That ended up being a big mega event. Joshua Ruiz at the Garden. Look at how big that was. Joshua Ruiz in Saudi Arabia. That was huge too. There's hope for boxing megastars. But boxing's got to get out of its own fucking way. There is a chance Canelo can be the one last megastar left. My issue with Tank is you got to put him in with top competition. He's another guy that really hasn't faced anybody. Pedraza's his biggest win. You can't face an overblown featherweight in Leo Santa Cruz, and people get all giddy about it. That doesn't work. And then you're going to go. I'll give him credit for going to 140. I just don't get what the move to 140 really means. It makes sense now because what's going on with Ryan, but he's not going to. He shouldn't stay at 140. He faces a Ramirez or a Josh Taylor or a Regis Prograis, he's going to get smoked. 135 or I think 130 is the best thing for Gervonta Davis. I just don't think there's the guys that get him to that next level of superstardom by staying at 130. Ryan Garcia, I would like to see it. He checks the boxes. Just don't know if he's going to get there. You really, really don't. It's just mental. Does he stay with Oscar? Is Oscar going to be in a roadblock to his superstardom? We'll see. Oh, someone's bashing you here, Daryl. I don't like this. Justin, come on, man. That's not cool.
Hey, man, if he wants to set up the GoFundMe and send me money, by all means, I got no problems with that. I'll buy myself a new computer.
Everyone wants that red panty night. Oh, absolutely. Everyone wants, or as Conor McGregor calls it now, the green pant, or as Kamaru Usman calls it, the green panty night.
The green panty night.
Justin's not wrong.
No.
Not wrong at all. I just think you need to fight some. Everyone wants it. Of course. Who doesn't want the red panty night? Fuck yeah, bitches. Just don't think you should get it. Let's see. God, we got so many questions here. Hold on.
Love it.
Comments, hold on. Saunders ever be the same? What do you think, DY?
I mean, it's tough to say. Recovering from an orbital bone is hard. But you look at the 168 division, other than Canelo, who else is there that, that he's fought, that he can fight and make money off, that he can benefit from?
Who, Saunders or Canelo?
Saunders.
You can go the rematch with Eubank. I think that'd make some money.
Yeah.
I think there's still interest of him going back to 160 and facing Andreed and trying to finally make that fight. Well, actually have the fight happen and they both get into the ring and Saunders doesn't test positive for a banned substance. But I think that's really the only things that are really out there right now, I think, for Billy Joe Saunders. Is he done? Will they ever be the same? Those injuries are tricky, man.
Yeah.
It could be one of those things to where you're vulnerable now and people are just going to target that eye. It does happen. It's happened in the UFC. It's happened in boxing. It could be a career not a career ender, but I think he could come back, but I think it could really hurt him down the line. I really do.
Yeah, it reminds me of Antonio Margarito when Manny Pacquiao busted his eye socket. Anytime you hit it,
the cheater.
The cheater.
It happened to a nicer guy,
right? God, I remember that. Felt like it was yesterday. I was at the press conference when they were in Puerto Rico when he came out. Still had the picture and everything. I was like 12.
Let's see, Cody Gore. Cody, thank you for the question. Justin, thank you for all the questions and comments so far, Justin. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Cody, thank you for leaving a comment and question. Do you think BJS is done? That cheek isn't ever going to hold up the same. I would hate for his first loss to be career-ending. That's the $1 million question here. Just don't know.
I honestly don't think it's career-ending. I think it's more career-altering. We'll see.
Career-altering, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see him again. It's just he has to take his time, though.
I felt, and Cody, thank you for the question. I felt so gutted for Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
Because you can just see the dejection on his face. And he's getting killed on social media, which I don't think is right. That's not cool. Because he fought his ass off. I'll give him that. I didn't like the whole keep putting your head in there and kind of rolling your head, but who am I? But yeah, it just wasn't like the world's biggest fan of that. Keep doing that, but I felt gutted for him because he was so dejected.
Yeah.
So dejected. Will he ever be the same? I don't know. How do you handle your first loss? Look at what happened with Ronda Rousey in MMA. She went into another. That was some next planet nonsense.
Yeah.
She went from like on top of the universe to being her mind, body, and soul was like in Neptune. Look at how Deontay Wilder's handled his first loss. He hasn't handled it well at all. He still doesn't have a fight lined up.
No.
Or you could go the Anthony Joshua route, take the first loss, and be like, I want to get right back at it. Let's get back on the horse. That's what the great ones do.
Canelo Alvarez did it too.
Canelo got right back in there and faced Arislandi Lara, the best 154-pound fighter in the world at the time.
Yeah.
So it's, how do you handle that? That's going to be up to Saunders. Hopefully, physically, he will be okay. I think eventually he will. But how is he going to be between the ears? I think that's going to be the $1 million question. No. Justin, Justin, change the avatar. Please, my friend. What's going on with Lomachenko? Lomachenko is returning on June the 26th against Nakatani, Masayoshi Nakatani. You don't remember that name. Remember the name because he gave Teofimo Lopez a very stern test before Teofimo Lopez became the 3-belt lightweight champion. He's not the undisputed lightweight champion, everybody. I try to tell Teofimo that, and every time I talk to him, he corrects me. I'm like, no, Teofimo, you're not the undisputed lightweight champion. That super champion nonsense is a franchise, whatever you want to call it, is about as good as a toilet paper I wipe my ass with. But he fights June 26th. Good. It's a good, nice test for Lomachenko coming back. So that doesn't surprise me. And Lomachenko's another guy we forgot about. Always wants to face the best.
Yeah.
Guy wanted a world title shot in his first fight. He got in the second. Another question from Rody. Canelo will make easier work out of plant than he did. Saunders like to see triple G3, but never see it happening. What do you think of that, Daryl?
I mean, yeah, I agree that Plant would be an easier challenge than what Billy Joe Saunders was. I don't think Canelo has as much trouble with Plant. As for the Triple G side of things, I think we'll see it happening.
I'll say this. DAZN wants that to happen. Obviously. Eddie Hearn would like it to happen. Gennady Golovkin would like it to happen. And now it seems like Canelo Alvarez is finally... he's open to the idea. Now, I don't know anything. Even though Canelo said if he wants to get all the belts at 68 first, and then Golovkin would have to move up. The way Gennady's been, he's been wonky, man. Doesn't face Murata. Doesn't want to fight until he faces Murata on New Year's Eve in Japan, which is a big money fight. In Japan, like, Murata's like Michael Jordan over there. Guy can't even leave his house without getting mobbed. But he's like, if Gennady wants to move up to 168, yeah, we'll fight. That's going to be all up to Gennady Golovkin. If Golovkin truly wants that fight, which I'm hoping he does for his sake, that's his last big payday. I don't know. I want to see it. I hope it does. I think it'd be great for boxing. I really, really do. I hope we see it.
Does Canelo plow through him as well?
Oh, yeah. It does. But I thought that the first time. I thought that the second time. The first two fights. And Golovkin fought. I had Golovkin winning the first fight. and the second fight. So, this time around, I'm gonna go with Canelo. All right, let's plot. We got a couple more questions here before we get you guys out tonight. Justin, Canelo kills Triple G in a trilogy. Justin, I agree. Justin, we agree on something today. Ruiz isn't a household name. He has a horrible management team. Oh, he sure does. I'm just not fond of PBC management in general. Just their business model to me doesn't make sense. The way they do things. They get paid well. Uncle Al pays them good. You can't deny that. It's all about getting paid. But
yeah.
When Jamal Charlo wants fights with Canelo Alvarez, it's just kind of. Steven, why doesn't DAZN have a 24/7 or all access show for fight promos? The 24/7. That is a good question, and that is a question I will ask actually, because I think that or all access. I think that's a great question. I really don't know. But that is what I can ask. I've never even thought of that, actually.
I'm going to ask you, hey,
or even like UFC Embedded. I like those too. I love, oh my God. The 24/7s, if you think about the 24/7s, that put Mayweather on the map. That 24/7 with De La Hoya. He went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather in a snap of the fingers because of 24/7. And All Access, those two shows made Floyd Mayweather a megastar. I'm going to ask that. Huh. I've never thought about that. Were you going to ask me that?
Me? No. I was going to say, hey, you should have this on, write this on a notepad because this is actually something I want to know. It's a great question.
Where's my paper? You know me, Daryl.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this. That's a great statement. 24/7. Oh, access. That's a great question. I will hopefully have. I will ask. I will ask Monday because after this, I am off till Monday.
Nice.
Oh, it's one day. This week I got some days off, which is wonderful. Cody, love Pac. Really hope fight with Crawford gets set. Right now, that fight is off. Had been talked about for June 5th in Dubai, but that was only going to happen if they got the money. They didn't get the money, which is interesting because Joshua and Fury are about to get $150 million. I don't know. I want to see that fight happen. There's no reason now that fight can't happen. I don't know what's inside Bob Arum's head. I really don't. I wish I did. That's another one where I just can't like. I respect Bob Arum for everything he's done, Daryl, but man, I cannot understand Bob Arum and his business. How do you let your rising star, your it could be your next Pacquiao, your next Mayweather, and you just say, hey, I don't want to pay you. Go to Triller. What? I don't understand.
Bob Arum, listen, John.
I think it's time for Bob to call it a day, but that's another conversation for tonight. So we got more here. We got more. Look at you guys. And I did say, right, here is the last one. We will end with this. King. Like, I heard Usman wants Canelo.
Different game.
Kamar Usman wants Jake. He's got a better chance with Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Put it that way. And I think Jake Paul will knock his head off.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No chance. You think there's a chance? Wait a moment. Wait a minute here. Okay. You're lucky I still got beer. Humor me and tell me why.
I haven't really done research on it. I just
No, you can't spew shit and not have no.
listen. All right, let's see who has Jake Paul fought. A lot of guys that had no chins whatsoever. Kamaru Usman can take a hit.
He almost got knocked out by Gilbert Burns, who's a jiu-jitsu artist.
Okay, but he can still take a hit. Colby Covington tagged him. He got tagged by Masvidal a couple times.
Colby Covington hits like he's like a pillow feather. I hate saying that because I like Colby, but Colby Covington's not the world's hardest puncher, from what I've been told from people at ADT. He was starting to get lit up by Masvidal.
Yeah.
I feel like if that fight would have went on, I think we got a different fight. I'm not saying Masvidal would have won. I think we would have learned a lot more out of Kamaru Usman. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think Usman beats Jake Paul?
Let me ask you this instead. Which MMA fighter gives Paul the biggest challenge?
McGregor.
Like wins or just biggest challenge?
Who, Jake Paul? McGregor beats him. But I think
Okay.
that's his biggest challenge. McGregor is the best striker in MMA.
Yeah.
He's the best boxer. Pure
Okay.
boxer in MMA. There's no doubt about that.
I just wanted to
It's
know.
not a knock on like guys like it's not a knock. I think Usman striking has gotten to a good level. I like Darren Till striking. I like his boxing. I like Israel Adesanya's boxing. But there's just levels. Like Ngannou's too big. He's just got too much muscle. It's like he would have to lose. Like, look at what happened with AJ. You gotta really thin out and lose that body mass. Still have muscle, but not look like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
It's not a bodybuilding. Boxing's not a bodybuilding competition.
You can't be stiff in the ring.
No. But MMA, I would say Connor. Are you talking just guys around Jake Paul? Like that weight? I would go Connor, Woodley. Woodley's got scary boxing. And I've seen it. It's scary. I seen him. CM Punk did a media day before his first fight. And the media session was done. And I'm friendly with Tyron. And he was just walking in. Me and him were talking. And he gave me some time. And I'm like, hey, Mike, can I just stay and watch you hit pads? Like, I watch your boxing session. He's like, yeah. And I stayed for like another hour. And my God, can hit. Fucking hit. And then I was talking to like Askren, and then I talked more to like DC. I asked DC about him because DC's talked about his hands before. He's like, that guy can hit, man. He's a good boxer. Like, he trains boxing. And he's trained with boxing guys. Like, I've heard about some of the guys he's trained with. So if I had to pick, I would go McGregor, Woodley, I don't want to, maybe Kamaru. Yeah, I'm going to go with Kamaru. Because I don't think there's really any solid. And Izzy. I think Izzy would be another guy. Those would be four guys.
Okay. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't mind seeing a fight between Jake Paul and Woodley. Just because I think Woodley's...
It's there.
Yeah.
Who wins?
Woodley and Jake Paul? Woodley. Just because I've seen more of his striking before. Woodley's issues in UFC was never his striking. His issues was that he got way too passive towards the end of his run. But when he struck. Because he tagged in his last fight. I forgot who he was fighting. He got him pretty good. Like, he came out right off the gate and then just got lit up. I'm blanking on the name of the guy that he was fighting last.
Woodley? His last fight?
Yeah.
Oh, Vicente Luque?
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, he was ragging him pretty good, and then just Luque's got good hands. But no, that was. I'm trying to think of what else. What else would I say? Unfortunate in UFC, Donald Cerrone, who I wrote an awesome freaking feature on, got blasted out first round knockout. Alex Morano. Bellator last night. Congratulations, Sergio Pettis becoming the Bellator bantamweight champion, beating Juan Archuleta in the main event of Bellator 258. Congratulations to Anthony Rumble Johnson. That looked a little shaky for a minute. Forgot the name of the guy he faced, though. Juan Augusto beat him in the second round to advance to face an old body facing the Bellator light heavyweight champion Vadim Nemkov. That's going to be a fun fight. Good to see Rumble Johnson go through a little bit of adversity and come back and get the victory via second round. Via a beautiful right hand to finish him in the second round. I actually watched Bellator last night. I don't know why. MMA was on. I wanted to see Rumble Johnson. That's kind of the only reason that kind of really had me excited to watch it. But I did watch UFC. I just saw Cerrone get knocked out. I was like, oh, man. Wrote this like killer feature, which you could check on DAZN.com. It's a great feature. I was so mad. But we will end with that because it is, man, I wasn't lying when I said it. It's 10-2. We're going to stop at 1:52 in the morning. Daryl, where can the fans find you on the social media?
You can find me on Twitter down below at DY21 or on Instagram at Daryl17 Rivera. If you're going to tweet at me, wait until tomorrow when I wake up. I might respond.
Oh, come on. I may text you in like an hour. Come on.
You won't hear a text back from me until tomorrow.
Find me on Twitter at SMuehlhausenJR. You can also find me on Instagram as well at SMuehlhausenJR. You can find a Walkway to Fight Club on Facebook. It's simple. Walkway to Fight Club. Type it in the Facebook search bar. Also on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it's simple. Just hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. A lot of great stuff up. Paul Heyman, Raquel Gonzalez, Tony Khan, and a whole lot more. You can also find us on Instagram. It's simple. Walkway to Fight Club, all in lowercase letters. This audio will be available. So I'm probably going to be up for like another half hour. But hopefully this audio goes up tonight. If not, it will be up tomorrow. You can find all of the audio. Rate, review, download, and subscribe on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeart, iTunes. It's all there. You look at what's on there, guys and girls. Paul Heyman. This is just this week. Paul Heyman, Sammy Guevara. I'm done. Wait till you hear this for next week. Drew McIntyre. And that happened out of nowhere. That was me feeling sicker than hell from the second shot of COVID. And I'm in the Menards parking lot. I don't know why it was out. It was like, hey, do you want to interview Drew McIntyre? Hey, sure. So that'll be out Monday. Drew McIntyre. Charles Oliveira, who will be fighting for the vacant lightweight title next week at UFC 262 against another person who's going to be on the podcast this week, Iron Mike Chandler. Talk to Mike. Chuck Liddell will be joining us as well. We'll be on the podcast. And then Friday, I think personally, and I didn't even tell you this. I kept this one close to the vest because I got so giddy when I got asked to do this interview. I just wanted to keep it close and keep it fuzzy. Luke and Butch the Bushwhackers.
Holy shit. That's awesome.
It was so weird. They're doing a 2021. They're doing like this. They're reuniting for the first time in like years, and they have like a PR firm. Like there's a PR company, and they handle like a bunch of. I don't even know how these people found me, but I don't complain.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, because they set me up with Jarrett. And then they like, hey, do you want to do Luke and Butch? And I'm like, why the fuck? I'm like, sure. In my mind, I'm like, it could be a Friday. I can have some fun. I had so much fun. Those could not have been two nicer guys. It was awesome. I relived like me being 6. Now, I've said this before. I have a list of people I want to talk to each year. They used to be on my list. I had them on in a few years. And I was telling the PR, I'm like, because he's like, oh man, he's like, this was so great. He's like, this is the best interview they've done all day. He's like, they loved it. And I'm like, man, I got to live out being 6. It was awesome. So, Luke and Butch, that will be for Friday. That was so much fun. I was a kid in a freaking candy store.
That's awesome.
And there may be one more surprise, which I'll tell you about off air. But there's one more that could be on the docket for this week, and I may bump Chuck Liddell back. But I'm waiting for a final confirmation, and hopefully I do get it this week. But
Man,
a lot of
not
people,
gonna like
guys,
that.
got a lot of people listening. We had a lot of people listening to the podcast on a Saturday, and that doesn't happen often. But thank you guys so much. And a lot of people watching tonight. It means a lot. Bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. For DY, Daryl Rivera, I'm Stephen Muehlhausen. Talk to you guys next time. Peace. We're out of here.